Welcome back to another episode of Two Joes and a Pro. As always, you have your boy Kenny, Ryan, and Brian. My guys, I'm at a remote location today. It's a top secret, so I hope you guys are happy. You know, rain, sleet, or snow, Two Joes and a Pro. We got to do it, right? So, what's going on?
How many numbers did you have to dial for that internet speed?
Man, I really got a hamster wheel. I really got a hamster going in the wheel right now to keep it turning. We're really on borrowed time, so you got to slow down. We got to speed it up. Actually,
okay, my bad.
Is what's going on with you? Are you still swimming in your house? What's up,
bro? My aquarium is drying out as we speak. We're good to go.
Dude, how'd you like that gif of you just go put the snorkel on? Let me see how it is down there. For those of you that don't know, Brian's basement is flooding a little bit.
Hey,
I wouldn't even call it flooding.
Why are we gonna put this on the air, man? I'm trying to sell this place.
Yeah, I'm not giving any addresses.
Since you're a famous podcaster, people are going to want to buy it because you the great Brian. So that doesn't even matter.
This is where Brian used to do his podcast.
This right here. He said right here. And at this moment, he turned everything off so it could be absolutely quiet.
This all happened before he was canceled.
All right. We're speaking that into the future.
Anyway, man. No, we're not speaking that future. You can't cancel us. We're the truth. Anyway, let me recap. I'm going to recap. Let me start with NBA. So, by the way, last week they benched Russell Westbrook. He was playing horrible. Long story short, I got hit on my Lakers. He was playing horrible. Frank Vogel said, "Hey guys, you're not playing the fourth quarter like at all." People say, "How do you feel, Russ?" He said, "Man, I was more upset that we didn't win." Still the same debacle with the Lakers. We got AD back playing not even a little bit better. We won the game against the Nets, but they didn't have KD or Kyrie, so I don't know what that's saying. In the Eastern Conference, the Heat right now, they're 31-17. Tyler Herro is playing like sixth man of the year. The Bulls is second in the conference. See, I don't have to even say the Eastern. I was messing up last week. I'm good this week. Cavaliers, surprisingly, are number 3, man. They're only 2 games behind first place at 30-19. And then, you know, the Nets and the Bucks round out the top 5 in the Eastern Conference. Right? 1.5, you said? Yeah, 1.5. Yeah. I think, see, like, it's weird how they do it because if you don't have the win total. So for me, like, I see you're at 30-19 and 30-17, you're 2 games behind. But for them, it's like 1.5, right?
Yeah.
So Western Conference, the Suns, they're looking at the best team in the NBA right now. They're 38-9. Devin Booker is playing like MVP level. I watched him yesterday. He had like 21 points in the first quarter. He's just doing different things, right? Warriors 35-13. They're like back and forth a little bit. They're kind of a little banged up a little bit. Grizzlies number 3. Jazz number 4, and then to round out number 5, the Mavericks. I don't know how, but like every year the Mavericks find a way to just like win games and stay under the radar. They lost Tim Hardaway though. He broke his 5th metatarsal in his foot, so they lost Tim Hardaway for a little bit of time. But for the most part, they're doing their thing. And the Lakers right now we're 500.
How many are there in there? His 5th one he broke.
Yeah.
I'm not a doctor. How many are there?
I think he's got 5, right? Shouldn't it be 5?
And I broke the same bone in my foot, so I hope he gets it healed right. Because if you don't let it heal right, you ain't never gonna be the same.
Collapse.
Yeah, that's what. Oh, here you go. Candace Parker was talking about her brother. He used to play in the league for the Raptors, and he had the same thing. She said he was never the same after it. She's like, it's one of those injuries. If you don't let it heal all the way, it could be a wrap for your career.
Yep.
Switching to NCAA basketball, Auburn is number 1 in the nation for the AP Top 25, right? They're number 1 in the nation. Gonzaga number 2, Arizona 3, Baylor 4, and Kansas 5. Nothing really new here as far as college basketball goes. There's a lot of mixing and matching as teams go and they get in that conference play. So that's the biggest thing that's coming from the college atmosphere. So, yep, that's all I got for NBA and college.
All right, well, I'm going to cover hockey real quick, just get it out of the way. Right now the hot teams in the East are the Pittsburgh Penguins. They're on a 6-game winning streak. pretty much everybody else is kind of playing 500 hockey right now in the East. No big movement, other than the Philadelphia Flyers, who have lost 13 straight. I can officially say they are going to be out of the playoffs. You can write that down. So in the West, you got the Avs on an 8-game win streak right now. They are the hottest team in hockey right now. They're the number 1 seed in the West right now, and they look like they can make some noise this year, possible championship run. And then also Dallas right now is a 9 seed in the West, so they're outside of the playoff picture, but they are on a 4-game win streak, so we'll see if they can make up some ground there. And that's pretty much all I got for hockey right now. Baseball still locked out. They've been talking. They're not going to make anything happen, I don't think. They're going to probably delay the season. They're going to lose revenue, and they're going to be whiny little bitches about it. So that's just how baseball is. They can't find common ground. So, but significant news in baseball: the Hall of Fame votes came in for this year. David Ortiz got in. He was the only player selected this year. He got like 79% of the votes. Go ahead, Ryan.
I have a question. He got 77.
Whatever.
But 77.9. But do they release the percentage of votes for the people that don't get in?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you gonna tell me that?
Well, I don't know them off the top of my head apparently. So
I'll look them up.
No, I know Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens were somewhere in the 60 percentile range.
And what do they need to get in?
They need 75 to get in. So
Man, that's complete bullshit.
It is.
Just helping the viewers, man.
Trust me, it is complete bullshit. Look, I love Big Papi, but he is no less a steroid player than Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, A-Rod. Look, he popped hot in 03 when they did the anonymous test, which all of a sudden wasn't anonymous, and people found out about it. He was one of 100 players listed that popped hot. And somehow MLB squashed it, and just it went away. And
I never knew about that.
Yeah, a lot of people don't remember that happened. And the thing is Big Papi, he's a likable guy. Everybody loves him. Even if you're a fan of other teams, you still liked Big Papi when he played. So I think that's why he got in, is because people liked him. Whereas guys like Bonds and Bonds perjured himself in court. About the whole scandal. He lied. Clemens is nobody, like, he just comes off as an a-hole. So, I think that those guys just got a bad rub on the journalists who are the ones that vote who goes into the Hall of Fame. And I think that these guys are just virtue signaling that they're going to be all high and mighty and keep out the PED users, yet they let David Ortiz in. So
I just don't understand that whole process when you have somebody that, like, even without, when you want to consider him using steroids, Barry Bonds, he had a Hall of Fame type of career. Even without that, the first 10 years of his career. So I just don't get why they are, like, knocking him. Like, if you look at Ken Griffey Jr. and you look at Barry Bonds at their numbers, I don't know off the top of my head, but I will argue that Barry Bonds' numbers probably was better. Right?
They were.
So like,
they were close.
Depending on what you're judging, yeah,
right. They were close in numbers wise. Bonds was a better average hitter to begin his career than Griffey. Griffey had a little more pop, but then it kind of reversed, and plus Griffey got hurt. I think hands down Griffey is probably the best player to ever play, but he got injured, so he doesn't have the stats. I mean, he has really good stats, but they would have been even better had he not got all the injuries. But no, Bonds is one of the greatest hitters of all time. He has to be in the Hall of Fame. Roger Clemens was the best pitcher when he played. The best pitcher, hands down. Nobody can argue that. And to say that PEDs was that significant on their careers is just ludicrous. I mean, look, we're letting in other guys into the Hall of Fame. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Jeff Kent is in. He's a second baseman. He played his first 5 years in New York, and he never hit like above like 15 home runs or something like that. And then all of a sudden he goes to San Francisco in 97. All of a sudden his home run numbers go skyrocketing. Well, who else was there in San Francisco at that time? Barry Bonds. Do you think maybe they might have been hitting the same needle? Yeah. They both are doing it. Okay, but Jeff Kent got in, so I'm pretty sure that that's right. You can double check it. I might be wrong, but
But Jeff Kent was bad in front of Bear Bonds, so it's like, well, we're going to go ahead and get the big guy out of there, and then let the little guys get through because he don't really matter. Like, who's really thinking about Jeff Kent?
well,
So he
no,
skates
yeah,
through, but you focus on Barry Bonds because he's the all-time home run leader, or he's hitting all these home runs and all these accolades, and people are just trying to, always knock the top guy off the top of the pedestal.
yeah. I mean, but look at it. I mean, MLB has 3 of their top probably 10 to 15 players of all time are never going to be in the Hall of Fame. That's Bonds, Clemens, and Pete Rose. Okay, and that's just ludicrous. I can't. There's no other word that I can use to describe it. Yeah, I can't believe that the MLB is shooting themselves in the foot. They have a sport where their fan base is dying, and they're gonna go and do this. Where people my age grew up with Clemens and Bonds playing at the height of their game, and you're not going to include them in the Hall of Fame. It's no wonder all your viewers, the majority of your viewers, are 50 plus. It's because that's all you're going to get. The young people don't care about your sport anymore, and then you're going to go and kill it some more. So, the MLB is going to get what they deserve.
So that's it for Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens, because it's been 10 years?
Yeah, so it's been 10 years, so they can't be voted in by the journalists. However, I think there is a veterans committee that can vote them in later. I'm not sure what the timeline is on that. I'm pretty sure it's significantly further down the road, maybe another 10 years or so from now. A recent guy that I remember got in a couple of years ago was Harold Baines. He got in by the veterans committee.
That's crazy.
And he played.
That's not a lot of people that get in. I mean, if he's the only one this year, but that sucks. That I wonder how close they were in years past. If they were at 74%.
I think this year was the highest.
Is this the closest they've ever been?
Yeah, I think this is. I thought it was one year that Clemens had 68 or something like that. He was close, and then that was it. Yeah. I don't think nobody's above 70 though.
Listen,
why are people holding a grudge? I get the grudge of they're just if that's their hard line, we're not gonna let anyone that took PEDs. Then I would agree with you. If that's their stance, then take everyone that has tested and take them out, and then Ortiz shouldn't get in if he tested positive.
Yeah, I think it's
basically saying anyone. Go ahead.
Yeah.
There's so many players though that could be in that played during that era and might not have tested positive. I mean, they didn't even start testing for PEDs until the early 2000s, or at least for steroids. So there could be guys that are already in that use steroids. I mean, baseball has been full of players doing anything they can to get a competitive advantage. I mean, there's even stories out there of Babe Ruth taking stuff, but nobody knew what it was, and it's just hearsay.
Dude, we've talked about this on previous episodes.
Yeah, we talked about it in the beginning.
I think one of our first two, where we were if Barry Bonds, if you take out all of his steroid use years, he's still a Hall of Famer.
Yes,
exactly.
He was
the first half, the first 10 years.
Just look at his time in Pittsburgh, because that's arguably when he went to San Francisco. I think is when it's believed that he started doing steroids, and that's when he started.
His body changed too, though. Yeah.
He gained a lot of weight, gained a lot of strength, and started hitting more home runs. But he's still a Hall of Famer. I could understand if a guy is borderline, and he did use PEDs. Okay, don't put him in. But dude, Bonds and Clemens are not borderline. They are
not even close.
Leaps. They're top guys. They would have been in even if they hadn't used.
Mm-hmm.
They still would have had very productive careers. So, anyways, that's my rant for baseball. I
like it. I like it though. There's a lot of juice in there.
Yeah.
We got for football,
Are
line.
we talking about football now? Ooh.
No, we're talking about basketball.
Well, are we doing? Yeah. Look, football was wild this weekend. I was sitting on the edge of my seat almost at every game, and I want you guys to know, if you put money on all the underdogs, I apologize. I should have got it right, but I was 3 out of 4, and that's pretty dang impressive. So I'll just cover the games. We'll do I'll just do it in order. So Cincy went went into Tennessee and they beat him. It wasn't like a stomping. Tannehill was exposed for what he was. He threw 3 interceptions. He just wasn't that great. Derrick Henry looked like he was coming back from a foot injury, so like he was noticeably hobbled because the leading rusher on that team that day was Dante Foreman, who had 66 yards. But Henry got in the end zone. They were trying to run the ball, but they just couldn't do it. And then Cincy, Joe Burrow, he threw for 348 yards. I don't think he had a touchdown on the ground. Most of it was like field goals. But he was moving the ball down the field. Burrow looks like the real deal when it comes to like.
But he had 9 sacks.
Yes.
He got sacked 9 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a problem.
He became intimate with that turf. Okay.
Oh my gosh. One of the hits towards the fourth quarter, when he got up, you could see him hobbling, but he tried to be cool, Joe Cool, and try to. I'm like, man, is that knee gonna hold up? I just pray that they don't play the Rams. I pray they don't win and play the Rams. It's gonna be my bad. Let me let you go.
But I gotta say one thing: if you're the Titans right now and Mike Vrabel, you need to find a way to get rid of Tannehill. That man just lost you the playoff game by himself because that defense.
He's done it before too.
Because that defense held the Bengals in check. No question.
What? They were balling. That's the best we've seen them all year.
Yeah. And your quarterback
defense,
your quarterback threw the ball away. 3 interceptions? Come on. You can't do that. But
and you can blame the receivers, but he was forcing a lot.
Yeah. But I was looking at the money though. His contract's fully guaranteed $38 million next year. Fully freaking guaranteed. How do you give somebody like that money like that?
Because he balled last year, though.
I think they push it. They keep pushing it, right?
Oh, it's gross.
Pushing what?
Gross.
Like his money, like it's guaranteed next year because they keep like extending his money out. Like because I don't know what the cap situation looked like. They might have been like trying to get his cap number down in previous years, and that's why it's like 38. Yeah. So it's catching up to him on the final year of his contract.
I'm pretty sure
he had
an
extension last year, though.
No. He might have.
Yeah. I thought he got an extension, or maybe it's 2 years ago. Remember, he got 100 or something million. Everybody's like, what? Because he had crazy numbers.
Yeah, I don't know, man. But all I know is next year, fully guaranteed, it's crazy. Yeah. And it's almost $40 million.
Hey, so that was the first game. And then it came down to a field goal. But don't worry. Hold on to your seats because the next game came down to a field goal as well. The San Francisco 49ers went into Green Bay and won a very low-scoring game, 13-10. Rodgers drove down the field, and they scored a rushing touchdown with A.J. Dillon on, like, the first drive. And I sat back and was like, oh, man. Because Kenny had told me prior to this that this was the game. Rodgers is going to ball out. And I was like, well, this is over. And defense made some adjustments, and they held him in check the rest of the game. Rodgers, I don't know what it was with this game, but he had made a decision going into it. He's like, I am only throwing the ball to Davante Adams and Aaron Jones. Yep. Like, those are the 2 people that are going to get the ball. Everyone else, you could suck it. Because, like, there was one play late in the fourth quarter where, like, he had a wide open Allen Lazard across the middle of the field. He decided to throw it to, like, Davante Adams. And the clear read was to throw it to Lazard. It's either whether or not it was, like, trust. He didn't trust him to catch the ball, but he tried to force it into, like, double coverage on, like, a short little 5-yard out to, like, Davante. It was just – it seemed weird. I'm not saying he, like, threw the game or anything, but it just was a weird thing. Hey, I love what I think it was, like, Nick or someone posted. It was, like, San Francisco passed on Aaron Rodgers, and he still gave them 4 playoff wins because this was the 4th loss to the 49ers in the playoffs. Going into this week, they were down. They had lost 3 to them because I remember the Kaepernick game where he like threw for like 500 something yards. It was ridiculous. I never forget that.
Dude, didn't Rodgers throw the ball like 29 times, but 20 of them were to Aaron Jones and Davante Adams? I'm pretty sure that's what the number was.
I'm pretty sure he only threw like 1 to other players. Here, I got it.
Man, you shouldn't have lost that game, though. The reason why they lost the game is special teams.
No.
They had it in check. The block kick,
that's
the only time they scored a touchdown.
I don't care.
That's the only time they scored a touchdown.
I don't care, Kenny. When you have Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback, you have to score more than 10 points.
Bro, it was.
It's inexcusable.
Did you see how cold it was?
I don't care. That's home field advantage for the Packers, or at least it's supposed to be.
They scored 0 offensive touchdowns, the 49ers.
I know.
Yeah, like what are you talking about?
I
0.
get that, but I don't care. When you're Aaron Rodgers, you need to score more points.
It was special teams. Special teams killed them. They had
more
that
points.
They blocked a field goal at the end of the first half, and then they blocked that punt for a touchdown, and that's a wrap.
Yeah,
that's it. And he threw 2 passes to other players. It was one to Mercedes Lewis for 0 yards, and one to like Alan Lazard for like 9 yards.
When he threw it to Mercedes Lewis, he fumbled it in the beginning.
Yeah,
messed him up. And the fumble by Mercedes Lewis was like, bro, what were you? You're not even fast. First of all, like we could have been, no offense to Mercedes Lewis, we could have been out there and ran faster than Mercedes Lewis. When he caught it, bro, I was like, when are you going to start running? It was like he was walking. I'm like, golly.
He used to be fast before he turned 35. He's like 40 now.
How old is he?
He's like almost 40. He's like 38, 39, something like that, I think.
37.
Yeah. Nah.
At least that's what Wikipedia says.
Time to hang it up, buddy. Right. Sorry.
All right, and then the Sunday games, you had more scoring. This was the Saturday better. Was defense, and Sunday was like, hey, we'll give you some offense. The Rams played Tampa Bay at Tampa Bay, so all the road teams are doing pretty hot right now. That was a great game. Stafford looked pretty good. And Brady had a little bit of trouble. He was getting rushed up the middle. That's the formula to beat Brady. Inside pressure up the middle, and he was flustered. He didn't have a great game. I mean, he threw the ball 54 times, 329 yards, a touchdown. He had an interception, and that's basically it for them. It was kind of. But Stafford just played.
Bottom line, they needed AB. I don't care what anybody said. Bottom line, they needed AB.
Yeah,
like
or
AB.
Godwin.
Yeah, or Godwin, right? But Godwin wasn't there. We already knew that beforehand. But them getting rid of AB is the reason why, in my opinion, they lost. Because you had Jalen Ramsey literally lock up Mike Evans, and it was like, curtains. Who you throwing it to? Tyler Johnson? Scotty Miller? Good luck.
Scotty Miller.
Hey, Scotty Miller looked all right.
He looked all right, but I'm saying you're not going to lose with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But, man, who I know Ryan was getting a little upset at the end of that game, though, because the Rams were trying to give it away.
I thought they were.
And Tom.
Yeah, they were trying to give it up.
Listen, no matter what you say, Tom played not that good that game, but, dude, in the fourth quarter.
Fourth quarter was good.
And it was crazy.
Oh, my God. The guy has ice in his veins, man. It's insane.
Did you see him praying? He did the prayer again. When I saw him do the prayer, and then he put it over, he had a coat on him looking down. I said, uh-oh.
Super Saiyan.
He called it from above.
And what's crazy,
Super
man,
Saiyan.
what's crazy is it was 27-3. Almost 28-3.
Mm-hmm.
It almost happened again.
27-3, and I don't still. I before you continue, Ryan. How do you? I think they were in cover one. How do you let the best person on their offense, Cooper Kupp, run straight down the middle of the seam? Like he ran straight down the seam on the near upright, and you just let him go past. Like what was Whitfield thinking? You're the safety.
Yeah, it was a play call. It was a bad play call. It was a zero blitz, and they for some reason had the safety on Kupp.
Did I predict this to you, Brian?
Well,
I think I was.
We said it. We said it.
Only reason why I think it wasn't cover zero is because what the safety did is he bit on the out route. They ran like a round off corner. He bit on the out route, and then Cooper, you see him stop, and they look at Cooper run through, and he was like, "I'm like, why are you shocked? What out route can't beat you, bro?"
I mean, I get that, but like, if it was like cover one, then who was the man on him? Because if the safety wasn't the guy, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like the safety had him man to man, and why he bit outside, like I can't explain that. I mean, that's just poor play.
He didn't even make a move, did he? I don't think he was.
No, he just ran. He went and hit his head on the goalpost. He ran straight down the field, and the safety stopped. And he was like, "Oh, you can see the safety like go like this." His face like, "Oh, like I don't know where you going."
Yeah, you don't put a safety on the best receiver. I'm sorry, you just don't do that. You can bring the pressure and put a corner on him.
I know they went over like, "Hey, bro, on this play, just don't get beat deep."
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna make a play. I'm gonna get a pick." What are you doing?
It was probably the easiest throw Matthew Stafford's ever made.
If Matthew Stafford didn't unthrow him and threw it, it was a touchdown.
Yeah.
It was my bad. I'll let you continue. That jump pissed me off.
But
But I
it was
wanted Tom to
better.
make that comeback.
It was better that it was stopped, that it wasn't a touchdown, because if you score right away and Brady gets the ball back, like, nah, you don't want that. You didn't want that smoke.
But it was only like, I thought it was only like 20-something seconds though.
It was 41 seconds when they started the drive.
Some people only need 13 seconds.
Yeah,
Oh,
really.
my bad. Speaking of 13 seconds, let's get to that.
Dude, this Buffalo game, Buffalo at Kansas City, was one of the better games that I've seen in a really, really
All
long
time?
I'm not gonna.
All time?
I'd have to like go back and look at other
Yeah,
games
okay.
because like in the moment I want to be like, yeah, that was the best game I ever seen, but like I'm so hyped up. Like we put Logan to bed at 9. I went in there and woke him up and was like, you got to watch the end of this game because it's nuts. Because I'll be honest, I was rooting for the Bills.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted this clean sweep of the underdogs, and it was just a wild game. Dude, Josh Allen played so well. He was 27 for 37, 329 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Brian will say it was the defense playing really poorly because he had a lot of open Gabriel Davis.
He will say
Davis
that.
I would rather you not speak for me, sir, because I was about ready to give him some credit. Because I think that these playoffs, this year, Josh Allen has come out. He has come out, and I'm going to let him be one of the top quarterbacks in the league now. Okay.
Did you lose?
Huh?
Did you lose a bet for fantasy? Yeah.
What?
I'm pretty sure Josh Allen ended up being the number 1 or 2 quarterback.
Okay.
He did. But
he
no,
definitely showed himself.
Listen, the Bills should have won that game. The Coach McDermott, he needs like someone to slap him in the head, because I'm not going to say he needs to be fired because I think he is a really good coach. But dude, how do you have 13 seconds left? How do you not
complete opposite of last game?
How do you not kick the ball off and make them have to return it? Kick it short, like pop it up in the air, and make them have to return it from like the 10. Or if they fair catch it, they lose yardage. Like,
just squib kick it.
I mean, something. Make them burn the time before the offense is on the field. First of all. Second of all, why are you playing 10 yards off the ball with your corners and you're rushing 4 still? Like, you're not going to get pressure. Mahomes is about to throw the ball in 1 second. Like, drop everybody back. Like, I don't know what they were doing. They played like this prevent defense. All they had to do was make 2 stops. Like, 2 tackles. That's it, and the game's over.
Let me ask y'all this. Did you guys see on social media there how they were talking about Travis Kelce? Did y'all see that?
What about him?
Okay, so
he
Travis
called it?
So talking about the whole play when he was calling, right? He was like, "Hey man," he said, "Tyreek, man, they want to do that coverage again. They're gonna put it, man. Hey, just come behind me, and I'm just gonna act like a little screen. You can go, boom, caught it." He said, "Hey, it's going again. Hey, it's going again." He said, "Go, Patty." He was like, "Go ahead, go ahead, go." Then Kelsey ran it, boom, caught it, field goal. I was like, bro, like they know you just as much as you know them, right? If they see your film, right? Like defensive coordinators have this bad, offensive coordinators too, but defensive coordinators have this bad habit of like, I'm going to stick to what I do, and I want you to beat me.
Yeah.
It's like, no, bro, don't do that. Like you got to.
It's not the play call the problem. It's the players not executing. That's the problem.
Yeah.
If you just execute it a little bit.
Like you think we don't see your film for the whole year and know your tendencies? Don't go to, this is my bread and butter. This is our best coverage. I understand it, but you know this is a professional football. They're watching that too.
Bro, they had to stop them from getting a field goal, and the coach called plays like they were trying to stop the touchdown. It's inexcusable, and whoever gets Leslie Frazier, good luck, because I wouldn't want him. I wouldn't want him now.
It'll probably be the Giants.
Yeah, and most likely.
Whatever, man.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I'm sorry, but that's sickening. The Bills should be in the AFC Championship game right now, and probably going to a Super Bowl.
I definitely agree to that.
I don't want to hear this anymore. Anyways, Patrick Mahomes. I didn't want him to win just because I feel like I don't know. I don't hate him. I don't have a problem with him. I guess he deserves it because this happened to him when they played the Patriots. The exact same thing. They lost the coin toss. Brady went down, scored a touchdown. Game was over, and he didn't even get the ball. and he was pretty cool. He ran over to Josh Allen after the game and like talked to him. So like this should be the championship game every year, more than likely. Like if these two teams stay with what they're doing, this is the next Brady Payton.
That was Josh Allen coming out party. Like I'm real deal. Like I'm not middle of the pack. Like I'm top tier. Like I'm the next guy.
You know his quarterback rating for those two games was like 149.
That doesn't surprise me.
I mean, he was almost perfect against the Patriots, but both of them.
His QBR was 90 against the Chiefs.
I meant the rating, not the QBR. The rating.
Oh.
The one that goes to 158.3.
Oh yeah. I don't know.
Okay, Bryce, put that knowledge out. Like, listen, I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
58.3.
Boop boop.
Okay.
58.3. Nobody look at that shit.
Excuse me.
God. Oh, hey man, that was a good game. I don't care.
We're not going to talk about changing overtime rules, are we? Because I'm going to be sick to my stomach if we do.
No, I don't want to talk about that. It's bullshit. I'm here.
All right. Sorry. Number one defense go make a stop.
I think they will change it, but that's just me.
It's gross.
Just for money.
I mean,
for money, yeah,
exactly.
Because that was the most entertaining game of the weekend, and it was like one of the highest rated games, like in terms of viewership.
But the NFL's all about player safety. But we're gonna let the players keep playing longer and potentially get injured, like later in the game when they're tired. Like no, they don't care about players, and this is gonna show it. Let's just keep them out there. Let's play 6 quarters then.
These guys are getting paid so much money. Like, I'm just kidding. All right.
Kenny, where you at?
His headphones died. I think his headphones died.
Yeah, all right.
All right. I think that's it. Hey, just real quick, Brian, who do you got winning next week in the AFC? Who do we got? The Bengals or the Chiefs?
All right. Do you want what I want to win or what I think is going to win?
Okay, then we agree. You want the Bengals to win, and Kansas City's gonna win.
Yes.
Yeah. I agree. That's the same thing I'm thinking. I want the Bengals to be able to pull it out, but I also wanted the Bills to do it. And Patrick Mahomes is a piece of crap.
Yeah. In the NFC though, I've got the 49ers either way because there's something. They're kryptonite to the Rams.
Maybe
the last 6 matchups, man, they've won them.
That's fine. Stafford was there for 2 of them, so
yeah, and they lost them both.
They did, but I just think it's different this year. I think Stafford needs this game. He needs to win, and I want the Rams to win. I want Stafford to go to the Super Bowl so bad, so bad. And if he goes to the Super Bowl, unless he's playing, if it's Rams Bengals, I could care less.
Listen, the only reason why I don't want the Rams to win is because I want to be that like contrarian. Like I want the Rams to have unloaded all these draft picks and all their future assets to compile all this talent and to still come up short. I just want to laugh at them. So I'm just being an asshole. But that's how I feel about them.
All right.
What you got, Ken?
Yeah, man. So I really don't care who gets to the Super Bowl at this point. For me, as long as it's an entertaining game, then it don't matter to me.
Hey, do you know what? I saw something briefly on social media about so it might not be true, but something about the halftime show is changing or something, or I don't know. I just saw the headline and I was like, oh, whatever. But I know the halftime show is supposed to be like really good. It's headlining with a bunch of good artists, and I was just curious if you knew anything about that.
Yeah, I just know that
it's all.
Okay, yeah, I just know that it's Snoop Dogg and Kendrick Lamar and Midge. It's pretty much, they said that the halftime show this year is going to bring all the early 2000s people back, and it's just going to be one of those type of things. So all our generation are like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have all my baggy clothes and everything going and be like teed up for it.
Like Dre's going to be there, Eminem. Yeah. It's going to be a lot of great artists, at least in my opinion. I think they're great artists. I mean, to each his own. I mean, even if you don't like that genre of music, they're still great artists, so you should tune in.
All right, Kenny, we'll let you set us up for the great debate.
Yeah, so what I wanted to touch on, right? So, like, I saw this article. Actually, no, I'm going to say, Noelle, you guys know Noelle. She's the one that kind of threw this topic to me, right? So she said, Kenny, man, one of her neighbors pretty much got a scholarship doing esports, right? So that had me thinking. I was like, okay, man, he has a scholarship doing esports. Let me look a little into this. So with everything going on with COVID and everything like that, it's kind of accelerated this gap. So I wanted you guys' opinion. If knowing what we know now, right? Would you have your kids start focusing more on the alternate sports, non-traditional sports, right? Or let them do the traditional passes that we know, right? Football, basketball, hockey, soccer, track and field, and I can go either way on tennis and golf, right? But for the most part, those are considered traditional sports compared to the non-traditional, which are your, esports, boxing, swimming, gymnastics, MMA, cycling, those type of sports, Formula One racing, things like that.
Listen, if you'd asked me this a few years ago, I'd be all over traditional sports. Like, I'd be like, you have to play a traditional sport. You need to play one of the major ones. That's where the money's at. But there's so much money out in the world right now, like, that even these smaller sports are getting paid pretty well. So I'm for letting your kids decide what they want to do rather than trying to push them into a major sport. Would I want my kids to play sports? Of course. I want them to play. I'd love to see my kids play football, basketball, baseball, whatever. But if they choose to play video games for life, like, whatever. Like, it's actually something that you can professionally do. So as opposed to even 10 years ago, a lot of these sports, there wasn't really as big of a market for the professional level. It was more just like they were just looked at as like amateurs or whatever, like they might get a little bit of money here and there, might win like a $10,000 pot, but on the competition, but they weren't like making big money like they are now. So, I mean, the way the world's evolving right now with all the technology, I think that you go ahead and I think it's good to focus on whatever you're interested in now, as opposed to just going with the cliche. Yeah, I gotta play baseball. Oh, I gotta play basketball. Like, that's just my opinion.
Do you second that, Ryan? Okay, go ahead. Do you second that or no?
Here, I'll go ahead. So I think this is like a twofold question. It's one, it's how you feel about traditional sports versus non-traditional sports, and then two, like, we're all dads, so it's on the basis of like how you parent, like how you want your children. And I'm very similar to Brian. I'm not going to volunteer and put my son or daughter in, like, I'm not going to sign them up for like an esports thing unless they came to me and was like, hey, I want to do this. It's just not my, like, I think that I think that doing a team sport in some capacity, I think that's beneficial for not just doing a sport, but doing a team sport that requires you to work with other people, because it helps team building and you have to work with people, and you also have to do things that not necessarily you want to do, but you're just doing for the team. You know what I mean? I think that's a valuable lesson that like my kids should learn. But I will say this with regards to esports, there is so much money, and a lot of these people, like, once they become like I think Brian brought this up earlier, how like the professional esports, like, their longevity is very low, because once they get a little older, like, your reflexes are off, and like new people come up, like these young 14, 15, 16-year-old kids that are just twitchy, drinking Mountain Dews and Gatorade, like flipping out, tweaking on the controllers. But what I will say is, if my kid, I'm not going to just let him play video games all day thinking like, oh, he's preparing himself for esports one day. He can make esports. It's like, I just wouldn't do that. You know what I mean? Like I want them to be able to physical activity sports, like even like tennis, swimming, things like that. Like I think those are valuable things that like my kids need to do. It's just hard to say, but like the money's out there for all these sports, esports, streaming. Conor McGregor last year was the number one earner. He made 180 million. He only had 2 fights. There's money to be made. Tennis, I think Roger Federer was like number 7 with 90 mil last year, and then Formula One. That's another big thing. But like when you're raising your kids, it's like they don't really get into some of those sports until like later on. You know what I mean? Like the especially auto racing.
So you're in between the two essentially then, right? Because you said I want my kids to do a team sport, but if you look at most non-traditional or alternate sports, besides lacrosse, most of these sports are individualized, right? So it's like teetering between the two. Like, which one do you want to do? Um, I definitely agree with you as far as the team atmosphere. I think that is essential when it comes to personal development and growth, right? I think the easiest thing to do is to send your kids into these alternate or non-traditional sports, esports, all those things, because it's like kids these days from and COVID helped that a lot, right? Kids these days, they want to be like by themselves, right? They want to be by themselves and not physically active. But I know that me being young, right? I loved going outside. I love playing different sports. I love being physically active, right? So like, of course, while I do agree, that it's a lot of money to be made in non-traditional sports and people that don't want their kids doing all these contact and all these different things, you want to not have them do these physical aspects of sports because they can get injured, tear ACLs, things like that. But you can have the same cases in non-traditional sports, right? Like if you're doing Formula One, you can get in accidents. If you're doing gymnastics, you still can get hurt, right? If you're doing, esports, guess
They get hurt
what?
a
You
lot.
can get carpal tunnel. You can get different eye diseases. It's a lot of different things that can take a toll on your body, right? So with that being said, I would rather my kid, even though what I know about non-traditional sports and so many people went there and a lot of it money has been made. I think it's like 2.6 billion kids have transitioned over to that esports platform. Even with this metaverse crypto stuff, a lot of people doing play to earn. I would still want my kids to be in a traditional sports setting just because I want those core principles like good for them, right? And I'm not saying that I don't know if you can even learn the core principles if I'm playing golf, right? Because it's just me.
The,
I don't know if you
the
guys
one thing
disagree,
I
but
will
like,
say about that though, go ahead. The one thing I would say about
no, no, go
like
ahead.
golf in particular or sports that like are you're the singular person, I think it does promote like confidence. Like if all eyes are on you and you're out there to perform, I think there's value to be added for like your kids growing up. Like I remember, so I did football in high school, but during the winter I would do track or field because I'm not running anywhere. But like I remember like I had to be confident in myself to be able to like do shot put or discus and like everyone's all eyes on me and you're like performing in that moment and it stinks, but it also taught me to like be able to perform in front of people, whether that was like during a briefing or a speech. I think because I know my kids, whenever people eyes are on them, just them, they clam up a little bit, and when it's with a
But
team effort, they're fine.
But I think track and field is considered a traditional sport, right? But what I'm saying in that aspect is you can get all those little principles in traditional sports. In football, fourth and one, okay, eyes on you guys to perform, right? Yeah, you might not think on the big scope of things unless you have the ball in your hand. But if you don't do your assignment as an offensive lineman, right, and as a guard or as a receiver to catch the ball, all those pieces add to it, and on film they show, right? Same thing in basketball. If I'm taking the last shot, everybody's looking at you. You miss a shot, everything's on you. So like, while I agree with you, right? You build that confidence. I
Yeah.
think you can get that same principles in traditional sports as well. You see, I came back with the
Yeah.
headphones.
Yeah, I like
What's
it.
you
I don't
know?
know what's going on, man.
Yeah.
Brian, you got any closing remarks?
Man, I don't know. I mean, I get the team aspect thing. Like, I really do agree with that. But at the same
Yeah.
time, you know, parent well, I'm not gonna tell people how to parent their kids, but me personally, I'm not gonna push my kids to do a team sport if they don't want to.
Yep.
If you know what I mean, like, I mean, yeah, you can give them a gentle push, but you don't just sign them up and make them do it. Like you'd be like, you can like encourage them, and be like, hey, you're really good at basketball. Maybe you should try this out on a team, and instead of just playing in the backyard or whatever.
Yeah.
Words of encouragement will go a long ways, but I don't think you should force your kid to do it, because listen, just some kids just don't want to be on a team. I mean, I know that for sure. My son definitely doesn't want to be on a team. So, one day maybe
I completely agree with you.
One day he'll find a sport, maybe even like esports, but it'll be something where he can do by himself, where he doesn't have a team relying on him and he doesn't have to deal with a team. Like, that's just the way he is built, and that's fine.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing, right? I'm not saying that I would make my kid do that. I'm not saying about making my kid do that. I'm just saying in general that if I had the choice, that's what I would prefer. But of course, I totally agree with both of you guys. As parenting, you parent however you want to, but you shouldn't force your kids to anything because they're going to start hating the game, whatever that is, whether that's individualized sports or or traditional sports, right? So,
yeah, and I mean they can learn some valuable lessons even if they're playing by themselves. I mean,
yeah,
because I think that competition is good, so no matter what sport it is that you choose, as long as you have that competitiveness, I mean, because it's always going to push you to do better at whatever it is you're doing, and that'll come a long way in life if you're not everybody's going to be a professional athlete. Yep. So you're going to have that competitiveness in your everyday life, whatever it is you choose to do. So
one of the things I will say, if you're a father, like, or a mother or whatever, and you're like very similar to like me, Brian, and Kenny with regards to like when we were younger, we played traditional sports. We played the main sports. And like your child, like what Brian was saying, is like just doesn't want to do that. Take an interest in whatever they want to do. You know what I mean? Like because realistically, if like my son came to me and was like, I don't want to play soccer anymore, I don't want to do this anymore, I really like whatever coding thing or like whatever I'm doing on my computer, I'm like, then take an interest in that and like look for things for them to do that require them to like gain those skills to get better at whatever they wanted to do, whether that's like esports or like or coding or like whatever, soccer, tennis, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think whatever your kids do, help them be great at it, right? That's what I firmly believe in. If they want to be, I'm not going to we're getting in the parenting vibe, right? And two Joes in the pro parenting, right? So like whatever your kids want to do, make sure you just help them be the best they can at it, right? Empower them to be the best they can at it, right? Yeah. That's all I got to say. So I definitely thought you guys were going to lean more to the traditional sports, so you guys surprised me with that. Like you guys thought about the alternate sports, non-traditional.
Honestly, we probably would have before we were parents, to be completely fair.
Oh yeah,
at least that's how I feel. So, your outlook on life kind of changes a lot, especially when you have your own kids. Yeah. So
like I have my son loves traditional sports. He'll play football, he'll play soccer, he'll play whatever, he'll play a sport. But with my daughter, we signed her up for soccer. She just doesn't want to do it. We still sign her up, and she's like, I don't really want to do it. But then when she finds out like her friends are going to do it, then she wants to do it because she doesn't care about the sport itself. She's like, just wants to spend time with her friends. So she's like, oh yeah, they're going to do it, I'll do it too. And then, but like sometimes it's frustrating as a parent when you see how good your kid is at certain things where you're like, oh, you're so fast, or like, you got a nice jumper, like just play sports or just play basketball, just play whatever. And they're just like, nah, I'm good. But it's like, you just got to swallow that pride as a parent and just be like, because they can feel that judgment. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Just gotta... Don't try to live through your kids. You know what I mean? So, But that's all I don't know if you guys have anything else for that, but I thought that was really good. I thought it was a good way to switch things up. And I thought it was an interesting topic. So I wanted to bring it to you guys' attention.
And thanks, Noel.
Yeah, thanks, Noel. We'll appreciate that. So that covers it for the great debate. The BK bets, I don't know if you guys listened to me last week. Nagano, he ended up winning. Figueroa Redo, he ended up winning the belt back as well. But if you listen to Ryan, I think if you put your money on all the spreads besides the last game, you would have came through, right?
Yeah,
So,
the last game.
with that being said, for BK Bets, Brian and Ryan, since we got 2 games this week for NFL, going big with your money on it. What you guys going with?
Me personally, I'm not going spread on the KC Cincinnati game. I'm gonna go over. It's 54.5 points.
Yep.
And then with the Rams and San Fran, I got San Fran spread because I think they're gonna beat the Rams again. It's 3.5.
What's
That's
the
crazy.
spread versus with Kansas City?
Seven favoring Kansas City.
You think Kansas City's gonna win by a touchdown? More than a touchdown?
No.
I just don't know who's gonna win, so I'm gonna take the over because I think they're both gonna
I
score
would
points.
I would take the 7 points. Yeah. I don't
I'm
think
going-
that they beat them by 7. Like I would take Cincy with the points.
So you're taking Cincy with the points, and then what about the Rams and 49ers?
What's
3.5.
the spread?
It's 3.5.
3.5.
Plus 3.5 for San Fran. They're the dogs.
I'm taking the Rams.
Yeah, I already
Taking
know
the,
that.
I'm
Yeah.
taking the Rams.
I'm saying I'm taking. Go ahead, finish. My bad.
No, that's it. I'm taking the Rams.
I'm taking the Rams alternate spread. They win by 7.
Yeah.
I take the Rams alternate spread. They win by 7, and I'm going to take. I will take the over. I take the over, but I'm gonna push it down a little bit. I think they'll cover at like 50. For some reason, I think it's going to be one of those games where it's going to be weird. Somebody's going to play off because the first game, right? The first game wasn't it like 60 points, something like that, 60 something.
It was high scoring, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. So with the way Kansas City's going right now, and Cincy's defense isn't that great, and then obviously Kansas City's defense is not very good either. So I think there's gonna be some points put up.
All right, cool. I'll take it. I'm gonna take alternate sport. I'm gonna take alternate spread -7 the Rams, and I'm gonna take the over for the Chiefs. The over for the Chiefs game. That's my thing. I put 100 on that. I think that would hit.
Since he's going to the Super Bowl,
So you're taking
Calling it.
Cincy money line?
taking Cincy money line. I gotta
So
go.
Cincy money line and the Rams spread.
He's
That's
nuts.
you know you've been ballsy the last 2 weeks, so that doesn't surprise me.
Listen, I would like
So you got-
I would like the Cincinnati to win, but I just don't see it happening.
Yeah.
Cincy
Yeah, I don't
Rams
think Patty packages it up.
Super Bowl.
Cincy Rams. I got Rams alternate 7 and the over, and then Brian has the over in
And
49ers.
spread, yeah.
Odell's gonna have a game this game.
Yeah, okay.
How many yards?
He hasn't
Over
been
under
over
60.
100. Over under what? 60?
60.
He'll have over 60. They're not gonna. The 49ers is not gonna. They did some change up on their defensive backs. I think they benched Josh Norman. Anyways, I'll look at it in a minute, but I'm pretty sure that you're not gonna let Cooper Kupp beat
Go off
you
again.
the same way he did last week, and Odell's gonna reap the benefits.
That's too easy. I like that. Well, I don't know if anybody has any closing remarks. Guys, we appreciate you joining us again for another episode. Sunday is your boy's birthday. We have some stuff up our sleeves, so prepare for that. Got some partnerships coming up. So as always, thank you for your time. Like, subscribe, comment. Make sure you hit the like button a lot because we need to change the algorithm up so we can pop up more on everybody else's page. And we appreciate all the support. Peace.